This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Okay, I just want to welcome everybody to the December 6th Commission on Disability meeting. Is there anybody there?
Now we can't hear you anymore.
I turned it
What's
down.
going on?
I don't know.
Okay, try speaking.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone there for public speak?
Yes. Yeah, we have, you're here for public speak, correct?
Martine, are you here for public
Yes,
speak?
sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, go ahead. You can start, and then we just have to listen. We can't really respond to a lot of it.
Okay, my name's Martine Van Pay. I am coming to propose signage for the disability parking spots. I'm not sure if people are familiar with the more active parking signage.
No?
Oh, yeah, to replacing the logo. Yeah, I've heard of that movement. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. So it's I am a board member of the EPIC program, which has initiated the design and is but it's I'm not totally prepared. I was just trying to find out how one gets something like this through to the possibility that the city could alter some of the parking, alter their signage for disability parking. There's the possibility of these stickers that could be posted, I suppose, on the signs. And then there's also the possibility of purchasing a stencil for painting the ground parts. So I did see at the new school, there was this signage inside. So it's not a brand new thought to the community. It's not, I don't know in terms of the laws and how a city moves forward on something like this. I understood I spoke with someone in the mayor's office who said that the city hires a company that does all the painting. So it's a little more complicated than just going out and painting. Yeah.
Do you know the legality, just generally statewide, the legality of putting stickers over existing
Probably
signage?
not. I don't know. That's
Okay, that would be
at the beginning.
So
Jeff, we're not allowed to like go back and forth during public speak.
Okay,
So
so
we're allowed to listen.
So I'm not doing the formal proposal right now because I'm new to this kind of advocacy type work, but I wanted to see, I was directed to this committee as the one to start exploring this with. The state of, I think North Carolina has it statewide. New York has implemented this sticker statewide, this emblem statewide. There's a town like Malden, a few towns in Massachusetts have initiated it. So it's not something that has never been done. So I thought I would start out here in Western Mass to see. I think it's a positive image versus the other image.
Yeah.
There are issues. Some people feel like it doesn't represent all disabilities, but at least it shows a little more activity. It's more realistic towards what people with disabilities would like to shown, I think. My son's a wheelchair user, so that's kind of like my love of the concept. So I'm looking for advice about how to go about this, if it's a realistic thing, and if anyone's interested in joining me. I have some information from people who've done it before, but I didn't organize it. And I can organize some photographs of, like, the Bronx Zoo has an entire fleet of disability parking, and they're using this sign. So I think it's a progressive way to go about putting out an image from the town, and it's, I think, more positive.
So you did talk to the DPW or,
I did, and they said they have a city company that they use, and talked to the mayor's office, and then I spoke to the mayor's office and they directed me here. So I don't know how one gets something like this done. I know the new school has pristine, newly painted, beautiful parking lot that's already got the old, the other symbol. But the Triangle or EPIC, which is an organization that runs a program for young adults with disabilities to become more self-advocates. They spend a year doing it. It's more of a Boston Worcester based. I'd love it to come out here. But they have on their website access to these things. I think the stencils cost maybe, I forget, a few hundred, and the stickers cost $5 maybe. But I do know the question about how to get the signage changed is a good one, and I don't know how they've done it. But I do have some handouts, but I didn't get organized because I thought I was just going to come in this early day.
yeah, so we can't discuss it because we didn't know ahead of time, so it's not on the agenda. So, and honestly, I'm not sure how to do that either. So we would have to talk about it, think about it, and maybe put it on the agenda and let you know. So I appreciate you bringing it up, though.
Do you need fly? I mean, is this it? Is this the
Yep,
present talking about me coming back?
That's it for now.
Yeah, it sounds like it'll be coming back.
Public- right.
Right, but yeah,
Is just you talking, and we're not supposed to be really like interacting or answering questions or anything. So we can look into it and talk about it and see if we're going to put it on the agenda.
So I can leave the pamphlet.
Yeah, do we have your contact
Yeah.
information? Let's,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's, yeah, my name.
Yep.
My phone number is 857-231-1651. And my email is my name, Martine Van Pay, all lowercase, @gmail.com.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I've got your name right again. MARTINE, then VANPEE.
Yeah, and as in Nancy, right?
Okay.
And Van, yes, yeah,
It's a good movement.
yeah.
I have one suggestion. I know we're not supposed to, so I'm so sorry, but just to send you off, maybe thinking about contacting the Massachusetts Office of Disability. So it's the state level office.
Yep.
Because a lot of the things that we get in terms of requirements get handed down. So they get handed down to the Mass DOTs doing a project on Union Street. And so those are the standards that the city is achieving, is the Mass DOT standards, which comes from Mass Office of Disability. So maybe that's a place to see if there's any knowledge up there about that, this movement coming down to kind of a city or town. That'd be my one suggestion.
I'll do that. And then, I didn't schedule them, but these are people who've done it. There are flyers that people can.
Eli, are the speakers there? Is Liz there?
the speakers are here, yes.
Because I can't see that also. Okay, we have to go on to our speakers now, but thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you. And
Thank you.
do you want one for everybody or one
Oh,
for the group?
just
People-
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do one and
okay.
All right.
Yeah.
You're welcome to stay at the meeting, or you can leave if you want. It's totally up to you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I can't see the speakers, but can they introduce themselves, and then we have about 5 minutes each?
Would you guys mind moving over so that the main, the main camera? Thank you.
Sit in right here, I think.
Yeah.
That works. Hi, everybody.
Because this is the camera that
Okay.
needs to.
Oof, this is high tech. I'm not used to all this.
So my name is Liz and I am the community social worker for Easthampton. So I started in the summer, back in July. So I'm still a little bit new and getting to meet everyone. My office is downstairs in the health department, pretty much directly below where we are now. So if you ever needed to find me, I share an office with the nurse, who also covers all of the city. So the two of us are downstairs in this building. So my role is really to be a resource to members in the community, individuals, families. I work with people of all ages, and you can refer yourself. You can have a family member refer you. You can have a friend refer you. You can call me if you think someone else would benefit from support or services or getting connected to any programming or really it's open to sort of anything and everything. So I do home visits. I meet with people out in the community. I have people come in and see me here, whatever's most convenient and easily arranged for the person in need of services. So that's my role in a nutshell. I'll let Emma introduce herself and then we can talk about how we overlap a little bit.
Sure, sounds like a good plan. Hi, everybody. I'm Emma Riley. I am a co-response clinician with the police department. I split my time between Easthampton and Hadley, and I'm based out of the police departments. However, I'm not a police employee. I'm actually an employee of Clinical and Support Options, or CSO. You guys familiar with CSO?
Can you put on one second? Guys, she's not on camera either.
Oh,
If you want my spot, I'm
Well-
on camera.
she is, but not like, yeah,
Center frame.
Right.
There you go.
That's all
You're
right.
in, you're in there. You're good.
We're just sharing a screen, you and I.
yeah.
So I work for CSO, so I'm technically an employee of that organization, but I spend all of my time in the Easthampton and Hadley police departments. I essentially, the main thing I do two main things. One is when we get calls to the police department that have some kind of mental health or behavioral health, or someone is just in like a acute distress, I go to that call and I try to help from a social worker side as opposed to from like the police kind of side. The other thing I do is I spend a lot of time following up with people. So let's say we get a call and maybe it's on a Saturday or a Sunday and I'm not working. When I come back in on Monday or Tuesday, I'll follow up with that person and see what kind of support I can provide once that crisis is already over. So those are like the two kind of main things that I do. Yeah.
So Emma and I work closely. If someone has an immediate need, oftentimes Emma goes out with our police and emergency response team. And if it looks like there's more of a need at home for other members of the household or the family, or if it's going to be a longer term need, she and I can work together, or I can take over and follow up and put some referrals and some resources in place. So we have separate, separate roles as social workers, but we do a lot of overlap. So you might see one of us or both of us, depending on what a person's needs are.
Yep. And it's been so awesome, just to promote Liz, it's been so awesome to have that kind of continuum of support. A lot of times I get tied up in crises and I can't do some of that longer term stuff. And Liz is able to kind of take that and run with it and has a lot of knowledge of the healthcare side and stuff like that I don't. So it's great.
Yeah.
Is Officer Alexander there?
He had a conflict this morning, so he asked that Emma speak on behalf of the department, and if there were any follow-up questions specifically for the police, we can have him follow up.
So yeah, that's definitely a separate thing, because everybody really wanted to hear directly from the police department. So okay.
If you guys do have some questions that are police specific, again, I do spend most of my time with the police. I am not a police officer, so I can't speak to that, but I do respond to calls with the police and have some experience with that. So can't speak to what Lieutenant Detective Alexander does, but a little bit.
Can you give like a generic specific example of maybe a call or how this all goes into action?
Sure. So, I think I'm finding. So for example, car accidents. Car accidents happen all the time, right? Oftentimes when a car accident happens, the person who got in an accident is in distress. Sometimes they have mental health, baggage with them, and sometimes they don't. But it doesn't matter, right? It's a super scary thing to have happen. So I will often respond to those calls and try to help calm the person down as much as I can, help them connect with the supports that they already have in their life, call their friends, call their family, whatever they need, while the police are dealing with more of the logistics of the accident.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
And I think similarly, in terms of the work that we do together, there have been calls where initially the police department is asked to go out and Emma will be out, and then afterwards we'll follow up with me and we can talk about, what the plan is for today and what the plan might need to look like for the coming days, weeks, months. And on the other side of that, I usually, I don't necessarily go out in crisis situations, but I do take calls and follow up from our emergency personnel to say something major happened over the weekend and a family member, a child, a spouse, somebody might need some ongoing support and resources. Otherwise, I spend a lot of my time out in the community checking in with people at home based on referrals that have come in. So we're pretty easy to find. People can call us, email us, find us in the building.
There's some cards we'll pass around in case people want them. So.
Great.
Yeah.
How does your position integrate with like 988 and stuff like that?
That's a really,
how,
really good question.
How many communities have a similar position and, stuff?
Yeah, so super good question. So lots of calls go to 988 and 988 handles them themselves or de-escalates or whatever they need to do. Sometimes 988 will refer to the crisis team, to CSO's crisis team as needed, and the CSO's crisis team will go out and do an evaluation. And very, very rarely a call will come to 988 and it will be the safety risk is too high. And so then they'll send it over to the police department and I will then respond out with the police if I'm there.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Do most departments have someone in your role on, integrated in the department?
So I'm a big Western Mass proponent. However, the eastern side of the state has been doing a better job with this than we are. We are a little late to the game. So in the eastern part of the state, almost every police department does have a clinician, many clinicians sometimes. We are newer to this out here. So I think BHN in Springfield area has been doing it for, Liz, do you know, 5 years or so?
Yep, BHN's had some staffing in place for the last couple of years. Obviously, Easthampton, Northampton, surrounding communities are very much in favor of having mental health response in addition to police response for calls that come in.
Yeah, so we've had it up in Hampshire and Franklin County for about 1.5 years.
Okay.
Some of the smaller towns in Hampshire and Franklin County have like one co-response clinician for like 10 towns because they're so small. And so we're building. Yeah. Good question.
I have a question. I'm from BSN. And I just want to, because I'm from BSN. And that's my program
Yeah.
Okay.
for BSN now. It's just,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay.
just want to let you know that. Can I look at it?
So you know what that is.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, BHN helps a lot of different,
Right.
intellectual disability
Right,
and mental health.
Yep.
And, they'll help out with houses and they also help out and advise,
Right.
some of their social workers will help out police departments. So
Yeah, okay,
Yes.
I'm from the program. Guy.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
I hope.
Yep.
I have a question. I'm Jeff. So I'm the city planner, the ADA coordinator, and I'm also a member on the commission. Angelique has done a really great job over the past 2 years, really, of bringing all types of guests to speak on the types of services that are out there. And I think one of the things we see is a gap in potentially getting people to the services.
Okay.
So that's just kind of a general thing, but I think in terms of like your role is kind of new,
Mhm.
and then seeing your role evolve over time.
Mhm.
One thing that has come up continuously in this group is that the disability community doesn't have access to a person who can kind of help them navigate X, Y, or Z.
Okay.
And
That's
the
great to know.
example that we keep running into is sort of the overlap between the senior center and Easthampton Neighbors.
Yep.
Which obviously the senior center is a city function, but then Easthampton Neighbors is a group who provide services to seniors.
Mhm.
And we've had conversations where they don't have capacity, it's not their charter to help other groups of people.
Mhm.
So things like transportation keeps coming up, and my role is spread really thin, and then the rest of the people are volunteers, so it's hard to find the people who could engage with a person who needs something and help them get the services. So that would be something that would be super valuable, kind of helping bridge the gap.
Sure.
The disability community kind of is missing that piece. And then, not to make it a minor point, but it's a good example, is we as a group have been talking about snow removal of sidewalks. And there's awareness, which is we're trying to raise awareness that property owners actually have the responsibility to clear their walks. But the commission, I think, got an email from someone who has identified a property like last year continuously didn't plow their walks. And I think there's a big leap to have someone go right to the police department.
Yes.
And I mean, the police department has engaged with us and said that if they're aware of it, they will send someone out. But that kind of thing would be really valuable to build a relationship with you.
Yeah,
and
that's
the
great.
Commission on Disability and finding ways to interact. So, Angelique, I hope that was okay. I think there's a real possibility here to have someone in City Hall who has the kind of the capacity and the skills to help navigate some of that stuff.
Yep. Right. Great examples to know about. And I think if it's helpful, we could certainly sit down outside of your, however often you meet for your meetings, monthly or whatever the case may be, we could have a discussion around if transportation and snow removal, like seasonally and just year round, what the major issues are that are coming up and how it would be helpful to serve as a point person who can help with that. So we can certainly connect outside of this meeting time and set up some time to address those things if that's helpful. Those are great to know about. And I agree, it's kind of a big deal to know that someone's not cleaning the sidewalk and then immediately have the police go out. And then, it's, if you have someone like me who can stop out and have a conversation with the homeowners and provide some education and say like, this is really important, then they're not feeling like it was escalated to a police response. And I'm happy to help with both of those. So that's great.
And I would say too, like communication, if Liz is based here and learns about some situation like this, she can also relay that to me and I can make sure the police are aware. A lot of what I do is education with the police about why someone might be doing what they're doing and trying to get the supports in place to help them navigate whatever situation they've got going on, as opposed to, again, escalating to a police type response.
Great. Yeah, that's good news.
Great. Have you been used yet? I mean, are you
Busy?
really
Yes.
busy?
Yes. Very busy.
Okay.
Surprisingly busy, but in a good way. I was worried when I started that it might take some time for people to know that I'm here and to access services, but it's been very busy and I have some different projects going on with different groups in the community. So it's been really nice. Busy, but in a very good way. So. So thank you for inviting us. It's nice to meet everyone and to be able to participate in the meeting. Certainly we can follow up on the questions that were presented and see how we can help moving forward.
Are there any other guys? No.
I need a card for, you guys think that I can have one?
I have cards.
Okay, thank you.
Great question.
And the house know what to do, right?
Yeah. They messed my cards up when I started,
man.
and so I had to make little notes on them so people know how to reach me, but they should be all correct. So.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
I'll take one. Thank you.
I just want to be sure what I'm gonna, how to do this and how I need to. I get nervous when I do.
These are magnets.
You know?
which are very-
Oh, Emma's got
You know what I'm saying?
She's ahead of me. I just
What?
have cards.
That's okay. CSO employs like
I get
7.
nervous. But I
Thank you.
do, you know?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for inviting us.
Yeah.
Just all the fun stuff, you know.
Thank you so much. I forgot your name.
Em.
Oh, okay. I have a hard time with names. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everyone.
So,
Thank you, yeah.
I'm giving you my beat up.
I'll give you-
All right, no problem.
But it's left in my pocket, so it's well.
All right.
Angela, can you repeat that? You were choppy there.
I just would have a good have a good day now.
Oh, you got it, Sean.
Thank
Guys, thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
So I just want to say that sorry that I'm not at the meeting. My son I guess he missed the bus and took the car, so I'm not there. I will say, just as some feedback, like I'm on my phone and I think I'm gonna share the screenshots with you guys because I definitely cannot see most of half of the table. And then when people are speaking, I can't see who's speaking. It's not showing up it's not all I can see is the entire meeting is Molly.
Oh,
Huh.
Now I can see Jeff, but Jeff didn't say anything. So
On the phone, if you swipe one way or the other, there might be a different way to see different. No. Okay.
no, but even so, the person that's speaking is supposed to be highlighted. So I don't know. Interesting. So
Yeah. So they are highlighted in my view. So I'm not sure what's going on.
mm-mm. Yeah, just interesting to know in case people are joining from a phone in the future. So okay. I'm going to actually reach out to the officer and try to have him come back because asking, from what I understand, I don't know how to say it. I don't know that he has specific training. He said that he works with the, elderly. So I'd like to have him come back as a guest when he's available to explain, what kind of training, if any, they have for interacting with people with disabilities since they're different than the CSO person. So, yes. So are we only missing Mary?
Rob? What about Rob?
Rob's not there. Okay. Okay. So is there any new business before I go over the other stuff that anybody wanted to bring up? No? Okay. Eli, you just want to, we haven't really made progress. We haven't really got the subcommittee going. So I just want to talk about next steps for the survey stuff.
Yeah, we were trying to set up a schedule for the survey committee, but we were weren't able to do that yet. But who said that they were interested? There was us and Stan and Molly. Did anyone else say they were interested? You remember? Sorry, repeat that.
Is Stan there Because I don't,
Stan's not here.
so he's also missing. Okay.
Yeah.
So I know that some people wanted to do the subcommittee meeting right after this meeting. The only problem is, one, sometimes the room is not available, and two, sometimes our meetings run over depending on who we have, and three, there's a concern that people will be burnt out after the meeting, and then so to try to have another meeting another half hour to an hour after could be quite a bit on somebody. So so we're looking at trying to do it a different day possibly. If that's okay with people.
Or at least like, if it's the same day, you know, if we could have like a break before, instead of just running one meeting into another.
Yeah. Right. No feedback on that? Okay.
Could we, if we did it, could we, like, does it have to be in a private place? Could we go to Shelburne Falls and chat there, or, you know, given the space issues and whatnot, and take a little break? Can we do something like that, or?
It depends. If there's enough people that make a quorum, then it has to be listed ahead of time, and, you know, the whole recorded and hybrid. So it'd have to be in that room.
Okay, I guess Stan, he needs to be able to zoom in too, right?
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, technically he could. You're right. I was thinking if we just had it, so I need to know ahead of time how many people are coming to determine if there's a quorum, and it has to be listed with an agenda and all that stuff. So, and I think is quorum for us right now 5 people, I believe. So, but I don't want people to back out and say, oh, like, I don't, you know, don't worry, I won't be on it, because I don't want to make work for you. So.
So to have a subcommittee, it has to be 5 people?
No, it's the issue is that if there's enough people together to make a quorum,
Yeah.
then it has to be treated as an official meeting, and we have to post an agenda and everything.
Oh,
So regardless, so regardless of whether we think of it as a subcommittee, like if there's a quorum, then legally it's a meeting of the Commission on Disability.
But I think what Angelique was saying is it's not a problem. It's just that she just needs to know the number.
Oh.
So whether to post it 2 days ahead.
oh, okay. What would be a quorum?
How many members do we have now?
So
Over.
I think
I would have the whole
Voting
thing. Oh,
members, yeah.
gotcha. Okay, okay.
we have, so we need 5.
Okay, so all right, a quorum is for us, it would be 5 right now. Yeah.
Okay.
And the same thing is true for, like, I just sent you guys the link to go to the Northampton Commission on Disability meeting. So if 5 of us go, that is considered us having a meeting. So I would need to do the same thing. So that's why I need to know if people want to go to that meeting. If it's 5, I have to list it, and that's like us coming together for an official meeting. So I know I've been talking about us collaborating with other committees and councils or whatever that Easthampton has. And so if a bunch of us go, I just have to know ahead of time to post all that stuff. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Molly, is there, I mean, are there days that would be best for you to have this, to talk about the survey?
Pretty flexible, so Wednesdays are fine, Thursdays are fine, even Mondays are fine. Yeah,
Okay, great.
yeah.
Well, I'll be sending out a new email or maybe a poll or something like that. So.
Okay,
Thank you.
yep.
Something that I got to do, was the approval of the minutes. So I just wanted to know if anybody saw anything that shouldn't be there or is wrong, or I can give you a few minutes. Are you looking at that, or are you looking at something different? Molly?
Oh, I was looking at the minutes, sorry.
Yeah, I was just asking if that's what you were doing. I wasn't sure.
Yeah. Yeah, then,
Can I repeat them quickly and then?
Yep. Angelique, since I'm doing the minutes this week, when I've got them typed up, where do I send them?
Me.
You, okay, great.
Send them to Mary so that she has a copy in her
Send
record.
Yep,
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so if somebody can make a motion to pass the minutes, unless there's an issue with them, that'd be great.
I move to approve the minutes as written.
And somebody second.
I second the motion.
Okay, if we're all okay, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. It passes. If you can just put that in there. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, guys. Had to go backwards there for a minute. Let me see. So I was going to talk about the resource guide, but Mary's not here and she has a copy of it because we just want to make sure that it's updated, and if anybody thought of something that's missing from there, I can send it out to you guys through the email again, if that would be helpful.
Is there a draft up or?
Yes, there's a draft up because we worked on it a couple months ago. But we were supposed to talk about it and that sort of.
And it's on the city website, the
That's,
new.
I think it is, yes. But we were supposed to go back to her with our opinion of looking at it, if it was missing anything, and I don't think that we did get back to her on that. So, I think it is on the website. I can take a look but I can send it to you guys as well. So,
Who are we getting back to?
Mary.
Oh, Mary. Okay.
Because she was the one who put the draft together.
Okay, gotcha.
So, in terms of the new school tour, they wanted to know when some dates were good for us. So I keep asking them about it, and then I might not hear back. And then finally I heard I will send you guys an email, but she wanted to know when a good time would be to go take a tour. So I don't know if, again, that's a thing that we would want to do right after our meeting. Because I'm sure some people need rides there. Do you guys have any opinion on that type of thing?
So I think, transportation is going to be, kind of an issue in wheelchair accessible transportation. However, after the meeting, at least we know that, do you want to take a tour of the new school, Jenny? In Easthampton?
Yay.
You want it, right? I know, right?
School. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, for Bryce, and Jenny and David, but more Bryce because he's a voting member. It's gonna Riverside hours is gonna be a lot easier for us to, daytime hours as opposed to weekends. And we can, if we have a date ahead of time, I can work on it. And I don't necessarily need to be a part of the tour if they need to swap me out with someone else, because I've seen the school a bunch,
So two things get brought up. One is I don't know if members that are not on the committee would be allowed. I'll have to ask them since because Jenny is not on the committee yet, correct? So
Okay.
you know if she plans on applying or not necessarily.
I think anybody, I think we all would be interested and amenable to applying. I know you want representation from a lot of different groups, so I haven't really asked or forced the issue, but I know in a perfect world you'd have some members from Riverside and some members from lots of different organizations. But I think Jenny would be interested. She's also a Riverside board member, and which you could plug to which you could plug to the school tour people as well.
We do have. Oh, sorry.
No.
We do have. Plenty of open seats, so I don't think there's an issue of anyone taking a seat from someone else.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeff Bag, would you be going on this tour? You know what some of the issues are?
I think I would try to go. Yes. I mean, I will be honest and say that I'm not sure my role in, we did the study of city properties, and then the school was given that report. I will try to attend. I'm just not sure my role in that process. But that doesn't mean I can't attend. And I would echo what Jeff said about, in your communication with the school, just echoing that it's we're bringing in Riverside Industries as a group who wants to be part of the site visit. I think it narrows it a little bit, so it's not the general public. We're not inviting, we're not sending out an invite to a broad group, but it's really kind of specific. So I would think the school should be supportive of that.
So my feeling when I spoke to her, it was interesting because I think it felt like she knew that we knew there were some things wrong, and it was they were a little nervous to have us in, as if we were like the professionals. So she really wanted to know what the purpose of us coming in was. And so I don't feel like we are professionals because we don't know what all that, even though they told us a bunch of things that weren't installed correctly or whatever, we don't know what that looks like. So
I can understand why they probably are curious about the purpose. What I do know is that the architect for the school is going through the list of items identified in that plan, and they're formulating, a response to some of them, identifying the things that they can't change. And so I think they're probably trying to figure out if the commission is going to the school to review those items or just get a tour overall. So I think that would be good to clarify.
Right. So I guess my hope would be that somebody could point out some things that are wrong, not so that we can be upset and angry. It's just so we know what that looks like. Because otherwise I have no idea about how high toilet paper rolls should or shouldn't be.
Yeah, I mean, so are you envisioning trying to get the site visit done before the upcoming holidays, or is it something that could go into the winter?
Yeah, imagine it would have to go to the winter because she wants me to get back with days and times and that we're available. And I know that'll take a while. So it's probably be into
One
January.
thing I'm jumping too far ahead, I would imagine, to offer this, but maybe one other step that could help the commission is trying to get the architect to come to a future meeting and go over the list of things that they are responding to. Because that, it's a long list, so some of it will be better done in a meeting. I think it would take a very long time to go through the whole school and identify all the problems or what the solutions are, because it would take all day.
Okay.
I don't think that's the goal of the commission to go. So a little bit of both, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Does anybody have anything else to say about the school tour?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I'll have to reach out to the 3 people that weren't here today to ask them about it as well. Okay, and then I know we have to talk about just a quick question, because I know we want to make another survey and like go over what we already put out there and make it better. Like, Jeff Bag, do you have a suggestion on when we should start working on the new survey?
I don't know.
No?
I mean, I'm not Jeff Bag, but I think we should do the work we need to do on the old survey
Yeah,
before we burden ourselves with thoughts of the new survey.
yeah, I would second that.
So to me, it's yes and no. Like, I guess in the back of my mind, like I feel like we've already been working on it because people have said you should have worded it this way, or you should have put it that, like, should have that, should have included that. So like, I feel like we've already been working on it a little bit, but.
Yeah, I think there's a middle ground to that too. I mean, I think if the committee meets to talk about the previous survey, if you continue to have questions that you think could have been asked differently, or you want to clarify, that's something you should put on a list for the next survey. But I guess listening to the last meeting when Paul St. Pierre was here, something to think about in terms of the next survey. One strategy might be to find what you're looking to do. What is the thing that you're trying to solve? And then create the survey to get more feedback on that. So I think that's the one challenge with the survey is it gathered a lot of information and now it's hard to come up with solutions or steps. So something that surveys often do is pick a topic that we need to figure out. So the old survey should give some needs, the community needs, and I think the new survey could help to refine a strategy for solving some of the problems. So if it's sidewalks, or if it's snow removal, or there was a lot of other issues. Sometimes starting with the problem and then building the survey to help solve the problem might be a strategy, rather than just asking 50 questions and get 50 topics. Start with a topic that's of most interest and then build a survey around that. So that's just
Yeah, honestly, say that I don't feel like I got the answers from the survey that I wanted. So what I was looking for was more people to say more things about little things that we would never know, because I don't have all the disabilities. I only have my own. So I was actually very disappointed in like I'm worried it didn't get to all the people, or because to me it didn't provide a whole bunch. So because I was looking for more like, well, this store, there's this, and I went to this event and this happened. And like, I just don't feel like that's in my mind that's what happened. So my goal of why I contributed and put it out didn't occur for me. But there's been a lot of people working on it. So, I mean, that's essentially what you're saying, right? Is we need to come up with a common goal, because if we all have a different goal for it, then then that makes it hard, I guess.
Seemed like Jeff wanted to say something.
I thought the general consensus for people who do this stuff was that the response rate was actually good. So I don't know about another survey really getting a lot of the stuff. I think a lot of the feedback you wanted from the survey is probably this type of stuff you just get in like Facebook, to be honest with you. But I don't know that you know what I mean. I just don't know.
Yeah.
And maybe if we had another survey in mind for 2 years from now, we could then respond to that Facebook anarchy with, hey, please give this feedback to the survey. Here's the link. But I don't,
Yeah, but expanding on what Jeff Brown just said, it might be that like getting specific details like that is not a survey might not be the best way to get those details. Right? Like, providing some kind of like something that's there all the time, right? For people to send in complaints might be a better way to get that information.
So that's why I personally wanted the survey to stay open and not have a close date, because I did want people that, they didn't see it in time or whatever. So yeah, that's something to think about, a complaint.
Yeah, but something where you can send things in like one at a time, right? As you think of them, like a website, right? Where you can,
Somebody brought up an app many years ago. So I don't know how it works. Okay.
Would that be part of our role, that there'd be a way for people to connect with this commission to express their concerns? I mean, do people even know really that we exist, and
Right.
is there a way for them to contact us?
Yeah. So, I mean, I advertise us a lot. So I think there's a lot of people that know who I personally, not anything about the commission. Right. Yeah. I still feel like we don't exist. Or I also feel like we as a group are figuring out who we are.
Right.
We have a lot of new members, yourself included, and then we still have spaces. And I just feel like we're always in a, we had like turnover and people leaving. And so we're still trying to figure out who we are, or what kind of power we have, or not. I don't know if power is the right word, to make things happen or not happen. So I just know I personally did not get the information I thought was going to come out of the survey. So I'm glad that there was some information, but
what were you hoping for?
So honestly, in my mind, I thought more people would answer. So I know Jeff Baggs said that 60 whatever was a lot, but like I don't have experience with that. So I was hoping that there would be hundreds of responses. Just again, like little things that I would never think of, like this is broke here, or there's this there, or there's I wanted people to talk about more about services and going somewhere and maybe different companies not treating them appropriately. I don't know. Just I wanted a lot more information to I just know there's a lot of problems out there, but I don't know what they are. So I was hoping I was going to get it through that, which didn't necessarily happen the way I was envisioning it, but that's okay.
Wondering about a simple Microsoft form to like just instead of emailing us, they could click on a link on social media site and just have a form that would eventually go to us and, just, vent in this box and someone will see it, essentially.
So I think bag you have, that's essentially what you're right. You have something like that, or is it just for sidewalk stuff?
Back to you.
Do you mean for on the city website?
Yes, because then I think you then are referring people to the MOD.
The complaint form. So that's a very, yes, we do have something, it's pretty specific. Whereas I think you're talking about getting general
Yes.
feedback. I think this is it's all good discussion. I would just want you all to know that doing survey work is really challenging.
Mhm.
So it's not something you should be discouraged by but I think you might want to try again. The feedback I had heard, and it wasn't a lot of feedback, but the survey was very long. So if there is another movement towards getting more data, you could pick topics and do a very, very short survey that might engage people more quickly and really telling them this is going to take a minute or less to get really specific data. Because otherwise it's just across the board, like a long survey, people get into it and then they stop and then it's just too long for them. So the attention span is one thing. The other is just with outreach. It's so hard to get people's attention. And this is just to hopefully make everyone feel better, but we did an open space survey and we mailed postcards to every household. So we sent 9,000 postcards and we got 600 responses.
Wow.
And for Nonotuck, the pool upgrades, we sent 1,400 postcards and asking people to come to a meeting, and we got 30 people. So the ratio is always way lower than you would think. And then the only tidbit, it's just an idea, but a lot of people who really want to engage do walk-up surveys. So if you're out at an event, you walk up, it's literally a person who walks up to another person and says, take this, 30-second survey. And that's how, when you do surveys, that's how you get a lot more responses, and you have to have kind of multiple ways. So it's just a lot more involved to get the bigger numbers that you might hope for.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I had been on the commission since we started it, and there was so much turnover and so many different versions of the survey. I mean, it was redone like 30 times, and each time it was based off of whoever was the loudest, bossiest person got their questions in, or they got to take them out. It just, by the time we put it out, I just wasn't sure. There were just so many ideas. I don't know.
Yeah. It's hard. I would I offer one more thing, which is, if you do talk about another survey, I would try to build off of the survey you took.
Yes.
And say, we took this long survey last year. Now we want to ask you a couple more questions about this. And it's going to be a really, really short kind of survey to get a little bit more specific information. Just try to build off of it. Don't dismiss what you already have, but build off of it. So those are just things coming off the top of my head here.
Is there anything else on the survey, guys? I know we're past our time. Do people have a couple more minutes, or should we close it?
I'm okay.
We have a couple more minutes.
The only other thing that I really wanted to bring up, I had mentioned before, but it was about maybe making a city. I don't know if that's the right way to go about requiring businesses to list if they're accessible. And I'm not sure exactly 100% how to make that happen. I know what we ran into when we thought about it a couple months ago was that there's so many different ways something could be accessible. So I was just hoping that events and businesses might be required to list, the various ways and that they're accessible. So what do you guys think about that type of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Personally, I'd like to see something where like like disabled people report on their experiences with different facilities, right? Like instead of trying to have businesses say like, is this accessible or not? I'd like disabled people to say, how is this accessible or inaccessible to me?
That's what I want in that survey.
Yeah, so,
Does Google have a mechanism for providing that feedback? I'm just like, I think Google, yeah, I think you can review something on Google, and I think, yeah, I feel like they have some accessibility questions. I don't know much about it, right? Do you know?
I don't know.
The other thing is about listing accessibility. Maybe if we, could we give, cards to businesses or something like that, asking them to voluntarily self-report on 2 or 3 benchmarks that we're looking for, like aisle width, are there stairs, are there, I don't know what other disabilities would look for.
Yeah, well, like for me, for example, because I'm blind, I have a lot of trouble with restaurant menus.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I'm constantly frustrated with like the things that they could do but don't do to make their menus easy for me to read.
What what other than just out of curiosity, this is maybe an aside, other than like a braille menu or something like that, what would you want as a blind individual that
Yeah, well, I don't know if I don't think we have time for me to go into detail on that right now.
Cool.
I think that people without disabilities just don't know how to think about this, So it almost feels like we'd be educating people a little bit. You don't want people to feel like they're bad because they don't know about this stuff. You just don't think about it if it's not part of your life. So I wonder if we could help the general public know more. And I think personal stories are one of the best teachers. If a business owner heard a story about somebody trying to get into their store because they really wanted to get something and they couldn't do it, I think that would be powerful. So somehow those kind of things.
I did a video on myself about me
Yeah.
and how I feel, but about me, and I have a video on me on my iPad.
Okay.
But the time when I come again, I want you guys to hear what I'm talking about.
Oh.
If that okay with you guys, so you guys can listen what I'm saying about me, because it's about how you guys talk about what they're. But I was talking about me, or I speak about myself.
What would you like to see when you go into a restaurant or a business? What would you like to see that would make it friendly for you and accessible? Are there
people with wheelchair people?
Okay, but
Like
what about what makes things accessible for you?
Me, so people gotta understand me.
People have to understand you.
Right, speak for yourself and speak for your rights. That's how I did that on my video on me
Okay.
about myself.
Do you know the video he's talking about?
Because that's what I did about me. The video on me on my iPad.
There's a video of you on your.
I did it myself.
You did?
Yeah, maybe you could.
Let's bring it in. Maybe one of these meetings you could show it to the commission.
Yeah, that okay for you guys?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys could
Maybe you could review with him.
I can Yeah, why don't you show it to me and then I can email Eli and Angelique and see how best to
Okay,
share with
yeah,
everybody.
Like if
right,
it was
I can do
half
that.
an hour, that might be too
Yeah.
much,
Yeah.
but.
I mean, it's
But
what
it's good.
I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You guys
Yeah,
feedback to me,
Yeah.
let me know what you think,
yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Are there any other things before we close the meeting?
No.
Maybe tomorrow I can show you.
No.
Maybe tomorrow.
I think we're,
Hey, Jeff.
I don't think, yeah, I think we're okay to close the meeting.
Okay.
Don't think I can tomorrow. so,
Is, let's see, January 4th, I think. I just wrote an email real quick, or I'm going to write an email, sorry, real quick to see if Stan and Rob maybe, did they not know there was a meeting, or I'm not sure. So, because typically I do hear from them if they're going to come or not come. So, all right, if there's nothing else, then I guess we can close the meeting, and thank you everybody for coming, and don't forget to shut off the cameras.
All right, thank you.
I'll see you tomorrow and we'll go over together tomorrow. Okay, all right, Jeff?
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.